Hello, so just off the bat, I want to give some trigger warnings before I mention anything. This video is a bit more serious than my usual ones, so just please keep that in mind. There might also be a bit more graphic mentioning, but I'll try and limit things as much as I can. Just keep that in mind. It's a bit heavier today, but there will be mentions of things such as grooming, CSA, harm, just things along that realm. So if you think you might be affected by anything just mentioned, please don't watch this video. Don't take that warning lightly. As usual, I will leave some resources in the description if you have been affected by anything we're speaking about today. I want to give a huge thank you to our channel members. Videos like this pretty much always get demonetized, so being a channel member means that you directly help me be able to keep making these videos whilst I'm still studying. Specifically videos like this. This is what I'm most passionate about. This is what got me started in YouTube in the first place. This is why I'm studying what I study, so it really does mean a lot. Thank you so much. But I had originally planned an entirely different video set for this week, but I woke up and I saw this tweet stating, getting on my not VTuber account, just see a VTuber outed as a P with an actual news article, and people are refusing to post the article because they want to protect the identity of a people. You guys are nuts, dude. Oh my god, I hate so many of you. After digging through the comments, a user posted that it was regarding B Morning, or also Valentine's B, who is a Twitch VTuber and also a YouTuber. On Twitter, a post was made by JBlogs in which they announced that they were cutting ties with B, in which they stated, "Hi everyone, a big important post, please read. I am no longer associated and cutting ties with B Morning VT, B Morning Star. It has come to my attention today that B was arrested for allegedly possessing child abuse material and charged with 5 counts of exploitation. These are from trusted sources. I absolutely do not condone these actions at all and find it absolutely sickening and disgusting. I would also suggest cut ties with this person. I will not be doxing the report, but I can say the reports are publicly available online. I will be taking some time for myself to process all this information." And from this, they shared their Discord profile, which will be important later. However, in the comments, people linked the police report anyway because it doesn't fall under doxing laws because it's in the public interest to know who this person is and what they've done. And in the news report, it states, a 24-year-old man has been arrested in Idaho on charges related to child abuse after investigators say a tip led them to a Discord account connected to him. The Idaho Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force arrested Laith Asby. He is charged with 5 counts of possessing child abuse material. Investigators allege a Discord account connected to Asby was reported to the national tip line. They also say they found videos of the on his phone. And VTuber said the Shrimpy also made a post regarding B, stating that they were also cutting ties. After coming out of the initial shock period, they posted the report in the comments. Rico Chan, who's also a VTuber and an artist who makes VTuber models, made the following statement. Dear clients and supporters, just today I've received the news regarding B Morning VT, B Morning Star. I do not condone the actions and behaviours of this individual. With this, I'm officially cutting ties and will no longer associate with him. In light of the situation, I'm terminating his VTuber model commission. I'm not the right person to share the full details of the situation and the severity of this matter, and I will no longer make any comments regarding the situation. And originally that was the video, that's all the information we have, but I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to make note of the rampant predation problem which is present on Discord. And it's almost became like a sort of joke with how common this is. I had thought about making a video on Discord's new policies, but I wasn't quite sure how to contextualise that in the correct way. But this is not a new problem that Discord is facing at all. We have situations such as B Plays, who has grown paying a minor for images through Discord. And I could list so many other instances where this has happened, but just going that one step further, we have extortion groups such as 764. And to me, 764 are very much akin to the Nth Room cases which happened in South Korea between, I believe it was 2018 to 2020, which I'll get into a bit more later. But for those that don't know, because I had someone in my Discord server say that they thought 764 was like an ARG and they didn't even know that they were real, but they are real. They emerged in 2020 from the Cult. Cult is known to have exploited approximately 2 minors in California and 16 minors around the world. And the US Department of Justice described it as an online group that espouts neo-Nazism, nihilism, and as its core principles, and Cult is affiliated with the COM, which is a broad network of international cybercriminals, which is where COM girls came from. Just last week, Matthew Fisher was arrested in Pennsylvania, in which he was part of said group. Grooming a 13-year-old girl through Discord, in which he targeted her from a mental health server. And in a news report it stated, when he started messaging her privately, officials described deeply disturbing requests. Fisher allegedly groomed the girl into sending him sexually explicit images and encouraged her to send him pictures of herself. You could see here in the final message he tells her, "You can go as deep or as shallow as you want. I love scratches, and pretty much anything else." The victim's mother discovered the messages and called the police, but the situation escalated when the girl ran away and left behind a note. And from this, police were able to track the Discord account to this man and found him in a motel room with the girl. Police said he had cut, choked, and assaulted her, and they had made a plan to die by suicide together. The victim told law enforcement that he had engaged in sexual conduct with her and that he used a knife to repeatedly her, and that he also choked her to the point where she couldn't speak. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna said the only thing more tragic would be as if we were reporting her death. From the situation, investigators stated Fisher's sadistic behaviour is evidence of nihilistic violent extremism, or NVE, and is part of a group known as 764, which they said is an online extremist network of members that want to destroy civilized society, targeting children for sexual exploitation and harm. NVEs are associated with individuals who engage in criminal conduct within the United States to further goals that derive mainly from a hatred of society. The FBI says it's investigating more than 450 cases involving this ideology, and he has since been federally charged with travelling with the intent to engage in illicit conduct. It's a felony punishable by up to 30 years in federal prison. In just the last week alone, investigators said that this is the second case involving sadistic ideology in Southern California. That week alone, the second case. As mentioned before, I'm not sure if this is where they got their inspiration from, but it reminded me a lot of the Nth Room cases in South Korea, which it was actually Stephanie Sue's first podcast episode where she spoke about that, which I discovered this case from, and it hit really close to some things, and that's what made me start doing my own research into, this whole area to begin with. And if you don't know what the Nth Room case was, in November 2019, journalist Kim Wan received a call from his employer at a South Korean newspaper. His boss wanted him to follow up on a tip they'd received via email about a teenage high school student who was distributing child on Telegram. Telegram is pretty infamous for this sort of stuff happening. He himself wondered if it was even worth chasing because the internet, and I'm going to call it CM, but he referred to it as child had been a major issue for a long time, but he still done an investigation based on what details he were given, and he wrote up a quick article that day. But Kim had started receiving emails saying that his personal information was being shared in a Telegram chat room, and from joining this Telegram chat room, he discovered that its anonymous participants had gotten hold of his personal information and were posting private pictures of him and his family. There were even disturbing messages which threatened to hunt him down, and he went on to lead a special task force uncovering what would turn out to be one of the worst cases of exploitation in South Korean history, the Nth Room case. So between 2018 to 2020, a network of chat rooms distributing exploitative content popped up in Telegram. The two most infamous of these chat rooms was the Nth Room, which refers to any one of 8 different chat rooms, and the Doctor's Room. In both rooms, young women and girls, some of them middle school age, were deceived and then blackmailed into uploading explicit photos and videos of themselves to these Telegram chat rooms, which were then sold and shared in the chat rooms with up to tens of thousands of users. Victims were often ordered to film themselves performing degrading acts and to even engage in sex harm. They didn't comply. The chat room operators threatened to release their explicit content to their friends, families, and in the case of minors, their school. There was even an instance where a person showed up to a young girl's school to threaten her if she didn't comply. These crimes are not new. I've never went into detail about what happened to me from the age of 9 upwards, and I'm not sure if it's something I ever will disclose online. I don't know what it is. I went through a lot in my life, but there's something in particular about that period in time of my life which I don't think I will ever feel fully comfortable sharing the details of. But what I will say is that this hits very close to home, and it was the start of a much bigger ordeal which would take place over the course of my life. And social media sites have been constantly trying to fight this battle, and sometimes not in the correct ways at all. Discord has recently delayed its planned age verification rollout, stressing that it would meet any specific legal obligations it has for age verifications of users, and the age verification will be part of the platform in the future. However, the platform said that it was now developing more verification options for users that would not require facial or ID scans, one such option being credit card verification. Discord stated that less than 10% of its users are expected to need to verify their age when the company does roll out the process later this year. Those users would be unable to access age-restricted content, and some default settings would be put in place until their age is verified. which I and quite a lot of people had some major concerns with, considering if people didn't verify their age, they would automatically be put in the teenage category. So if they were asked to verify their age and they didn't, they would just have free access to teens. So it doesn't really make much sense at all. And the same concern was also had with Roblox and their whole age verification debacle, which is just, that's a whole other kettle that I'm not getting into today. And part of the explanation they gave that so few users would actually need to verify their age is that Discord already uses an internal age determination system that looks at how long your account has existed, whether you have a payment method on file, what types of servers you're in, and general patterns of account activity. But they said the system doesn't read your messages, doesn't analyse your conversations, or look at the content you post, so it's just... But given the lack of trust among users around this entire issue, the Chief Technology Officer said that Discord will publish the age determination methodology before the age verification rolls out globally. And as was stated, they initially planned to roll out global age verification measures by defaulting users into a version of Discord created for people under 16 years old until their age was verified, but some people might just want to stay there. And Discord is like many other platforms right now, which Reddit got sued by the UK government for like £14 million the other day for not complying with this. But there has been a large push recently for child safety laws and child safety concerns in places like here, the UK, Australia and the European Union, Brazil, and individual states in America. But before this whole plan started, they had just wanted people to give them their government ID and pictures of their face, which people had many concerns over, especially in privacy. In October last year, official ID photos of around 70,000 users that Discord had gathered from a previous age verification partnership were likely leaked through a cyber attack. And Discord reiterated that when it does eventually roll out a global age verification system, no images used in the process will be stored. But then over the last week, online researchers found that Persona, another company that Discord had partnered with in the UK for age verification, had left thousands of files exposed on the open internet. Something that also concerned me that I hadn't personally saw many people make note of is that the facial expressions you are asked to make when doing these age verifications are the exact same that a predator would ask a child to make. I mean, inevitably, you're going to get children who are trying to bypass these age verifications by taking a picture of their own face. And if there's a chance that a data breach does happen and they're lying because companies love to lie, you're leaving them at risk and you're exposing them. Because I feel like people get predators wrong, and this is something that I want to ham in on, is that one, I hate when people are like, oh, but predators, you're like a different breed, you're like a monster, you're this and that, and it's like, no, you don't know who a predator is. You probably know a predator in your life and you just don't know it. Calling them monsters and calling them all these different names makes them not human, but they are human. These are people that you know. They're not some completely different breeds. These are people in your life that you know. And another thing that people get wrong is that they think that all of these predators are going after all these random children and it's very explicit material that they're accessing, and it's not. This is why I have such a strong urge for parents to not post pictures of their children online, because you don't know who has access to those pictures. Especially with the rise of AI, you do not know what they are doing with those pictures. I would like at some point to do a much more in-depth video about, this entire area, but I wanted to get my foot in here first and speak on this because it has been bothering me for weeks since Discord had their whole debacle. But they're not actually doing anything, they're just putting more children in harm. I think I mentioned this before, but I had been previously working on a documentary a couple years ago, but I stopped because it was very hard. I was in a very dark place mentally and it was not a fun time. But I've been thinking about starting that back again. A lot of the information is probably outdated because it was a long time ago, but being in a headspace now where I feel much more confident within myself, and despite a lot of pushback from a certain group of people, I just know that I'm doing the right thing and that this is what I want to do. And this is why I'm studying what I'm studying. This is why I started my channel in the first place. And I am so grateful that so many of you have given me a platform to spread awareness and share my story and share these stories, because I hate that it's seen as a taboo right? It's a taboo subject. People don't want to talk about it. Videos get age restricted, all this, which I get to a certain extent, but by silencing it and pushing it down, even just like demonetization, because it makes it harder to make these videos, because people need to live, people need to eat, people need to afford rent, and it's hard to put so much time and effort into these when you're not, which sounds really wrong when you're not getting a monetary feedback, but it's important. By demonetizing, by like pushing these videos down just because of the content they're saying, you are harming the awareness of this. And I'm just grateful that so many of you have given me the chance to do this, and I don't want to cry. I'm trying not to cry. But yeah, that's what I gotta say for today. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. If you have any other information, I would very, very much love to hear it. Like I said, I want to go more in depth in this when I have the time. I'm pretty swamped right now with college, but summer is coming up, hopefully, maybe soon, not really, and I want to really take the time over summer where I have the time before uni starts to put a lot into this. And yeah, that's all. Please take care of yourself. I know that was a lot. I know it's really hard to listen to, but thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Go eat, go drink some water, go on a walk, and yeah, that's all. I'll see you next time. Bye.